with us. She's our 4th District Congresswoman. I've known Vicky for years. She was the Cass County Farm Bureau President years ago. We got to know each other at Farm Bureau, and then she was a state legislator, and now she is a U.S. Congresswoman. I'm going to let her tell you a little bit about herself and let her update you on some issues, and then I think she'll take some questions after that. So if you'll welcome Vicky.
Thank you, Barb. It is great to be here back with good farm folk with common sense. I love it. And I've been in Washington for a while. It's like, okay, it's good. I wasn't sure I was going to be able to come. I was in D.C., yesterday with a little thing called shutdown. And so I was like, well, are we going to be able to make it out or not? And I'm very thankful that the Senate finally got some sense and came to an agreement there so we could at least move forward for a few more weeks there and do what the American people deserve, and that's have a government that functions. And so I'm really glad to be here, certainly with my Farm Bureau family. I grew up on a farm between Archie and Harrisonville, Missouri, so it's about an hour south of Kansas City. And we grew up mainly on a hog farm. We had cattle as well, but corn and soybeans and wheat and Milo. Back then we had Milo where you itch all the time. Hay and all of that. And so it's just my dad, my mom, my sister, and I, and just blessed to grow up on a farm. I think there's nothing like it. I'm very thankful for that wonderful upbringing. And then I came to Mizzou, and then I ended up meeting a wonderful guy who actually lived 3 miles from me back home, but I never met until my senior year at Mizzou, because he went to Harrisonville and I went to Archie. Okay, I'll tell you the whole story. No, anyway. So I married the farm boy from 3 miles away. So I knew of his family, but we just had never met. And we wondered sometimes, why didn't God have us meet in high school? And then we look at our high school pictures and we go, ooh. Timing is everything, right? So probably wouldn't happen. But anyways, I was thankful to get to marry somebody, stay at home, be close to my family still. So we raised that same day. They had a fair finish operation too. We started. We said goodbye to the pigs. All that makes me very sad. I was 1979 Cass County Pork Queen. Just but anyway, we raised corn, soybeans, wheat, and have a cow-calf operation, so very similar. And then we also sell some farm equipment now, and we have 4 stores there. So if anybody needs a combine or a tractor or something, no, just kidding. But was a teacher, taught home economics. In fact, just this afternoon, I've been down in Columbia, visited with different folks, but I was able to go by my alma mater, visit with the new dean there in the College of Human Environmental Sciences. Became a teacher, was a state rep for 6 years, and just really loved people. That's why I do what I do. I love the people in this area. And a few years ago, after I was a state rep for 6 years, and then became a mom, and I decided, I'm going to go home and not run for re-election and be full-time mom, because my mom was that way, and I just think that's a really special privilege and gift if you could do that and work more closely on our farm and our business. But then something else happened. There was an election in 2008, and somebody named Nancy Pelosi became speaker, and the president, and anyway, they started talking about us as like flyover country, and those people hold on to their guns and God and stuff, and I'm like, wait a minute, those are the values that make this country great, and we don't believe the same things as the East and West Coast, and we need to take just one of us and go and fight for it. And so I was asked to run, and after prayer ran, and I just am thankful, very honored that you chosen me to represent you. And so every week I go, and I come home every weekend. My #1 role still is being a wife and mom, but to take our values, take our common sense ideas to DC. And it is frustrating sometimes, like with what happened recently. And let me just share a little bit about the shutdown. We passed the bill in the House to keep the government funded, including 6-year reauthorization of the CHIP program, which is the Children's Health Insurance Program. And we also provided that 2 Obamacare taxes would not go into effect. We blocked that from happening. One of them is the medical device tax, which adds to the healthcare cost, especially of senior citizens. So we thought it was a good proposal, and was disappointed that a handful of senators decided to create an artificial crisis over a deadline that didn't exist, over an issue that had nothing to do with the budget. And so that has to do with immigration and DACA, the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals Program. So I thought that was an unfortunate thing to do. I am the only representative from Missouri's Congressional Delegation on the Agriculture Committee, and I'm also on the Armed Services Committee. And so I spent a lot of my time looking at the threats facing our world, what we need to do to keep our nation safe. My dad is an Army reservist, and just have a real appreciation for our military. How many veterans do we have in here? Raise your hand. Wow. That's a lot. Thank you for watching. Awesome. How many of you have family members, their children that are in the military? I mean, oh wow, that's awesome. There you go. There you go. Thank you. That's the number one thing I think we should be doing in Congress is to provide for the common defense. So spent a lot of our time looking at threats, and what was disappointing for sure with the shutdown is that it means that our troops were not being paid for those days. Now they'll get back pay now, but that's just wrong to make them go through that, ask them to be put their life in the line. So anyway, enough of that. Thankfully, cooler heads prevailed. I do believe we need to have an immigration reform bill. We do need to address the concern. My heart does go out to the DACA recipients, but along with that, I think we need to reform several things, including having a very strong border. Barb and Bruce and I were just talking, and the judge and I were talking earlier about something I'm real concerned about, and that is the drug problem. We have a real drug problem in our district, in our state, in our nation. And so a couple of years ago, I started a Missouri Drug-Free Initiative just to see what I could do in my role to help. We hosted 7 high school assemblies last year. My heart is still with teenagers. I taught at school for 11 years, loved teenagers. I was a director of Amherst program at school my last 6 years, worked with a lot of kids that got involved in drugs. And so we hosted high school assemblies. But one thing we've done, and the judge says, you have an exemplary program here, but is to try to encourage the kids to have a drug recovery court if they don't have one, because that is something that really works to help people get off of drugs and to move forward. So we're doing lots of things in those regards, but I wanted to spend just a little time tonight talking about ag-related things that you may be interested in, and then we can open it up to a few questions. But we have the Farm Bill coming up this year, and it's an exciting opportunity to continue the strong safety net programs, to look at what's working and not working, and to make those changes. So when I got to DC in 2011, I'd grown up on a farm. I knew about farm programs. I knew how important it was to have a safety net, and well, yeah, let's do a new farm bill this year. I had no idea how many people did not like the Farm Bill for various reasons. It was very eye-opening. So first of all, that 80% of the Farm Bill has nothing to do with us, with farmers. So 80% has to do with the food assistance programs. So that's SNAP, that's Women's, Infants, and Children, that's special assistance programs with food. So that's one of the first issues of debate. Why are they together? Which they were put together basically so they would pass. The urban and rural would move forward. But then how should that work? Should it be reformed on the food assistance side? And I think in this year's Farm Bill, you're going to see some proposals to allow states to continue to encourage, helping people get help when they need it, but then not have it be permanent. And that may include having some work requirements, or that they do some things to try to get off food stamps as part of the process. That will be controversial, so we'll have discussions about that. And then in the different areas of the Farm Bill, sometimes the commodities had different opinions. You had cotton against corn, and you had, and then sometimes, You remember a few years ago, you guys know this, I won't ask how many of your cattlemen and how many of your grain farmers, but you didn't want to get in the same room in the drought of 2011, because in some ways, corn was, really high, and cattle farmers were having a really tough go. So sometimes you see differences between the livestock side of ag and the grain side. You want different things. But as far as this year goes, I think we're in a pretty good position in that the ARC and the PLC, the assistance programs that we established before, are working pretty well. I don't think you're going to see such a major shift that we did a few years ago where we got away from the direct payments and established two new programs, two new safety net programs. So we'll be probably tweaking those a little bit. We might need to raise the target price here or there. The two main commodities that are still having real issues, and we're going to try to figure out a way to help them, are the dairy farmers and the cotton farmers. The dairy program that we established, the margin protection program, the last farm bill, it didn't really work like everybody thought it was going to, and not that many dairy farmers are actually signed up for it now, and they're hurting. So anybody got any dairy farmers in here? No? Okay, they're at home hurting. So anyway, we're going to try to figure out a way to help them. I don't think we have any cotton farmers in here, right? So that's another industry that certainly is in Missouri, and even though I represent the 4th District, you all primarily, since I'm the only one representing ag from the state, I kind of try to look out for all of the ag interests. So even those guys in the booth, will talk funny. We'll try to listen to them, see if we can tell them out. But my number one priority in the Farm Bill is to preserve crop insurance. I think it's vital that we maintain that risk management tool. It works. I explained to some of my urban friends, and others go, oh, that's just a welfare. There will be an attempt, I expect, to try to put means testing on or try to rein it in a little bit. I say that is a win-win, and that is a win for the taxpayer, but also the farmer. He has skin in the game in this program. This isn't a government giveaway. Oh, wouldn't that be nice? Let's all go to Mexico. All right, on vacation. Giveaway. It's not a giveaway. It is the farmer chooses the level of protection they want. They pay their own money into it, and it's so much better than the old disaster programs that we had. And as far as the amount of money that went out of the federal treasury, it was far more than investing in this, insurance program. So we're going to be trying to watch out for the Farm Bill. I'm going to be advancing one bill, and this is another area where we have discussion, is the conservation side, the CRP side, because that's another group of people that are interested in the Farm Bill. Sometimes it's opposite what they want from others. We decreased the amount of acreage of CRP in the last Farm Bill from 32 million down to 24 million, and there's some that want to go back up in acreage. Of course, prices are lower, right? And that was one of the original reasons to support CRP, not only for wildlife and for conservation reasons, but to take some land, frankly, out of production, supply and demand. You have less acres growing corn, soybeans, then maybe the prices go up. And so there's that argument again that prices are low, maybe if we take some land out of production. I don't know, I don't see that going going very far, because you have to have, it costs more money. If you're going to pay people to take land out of production, and I don't know just philosophically if that would fly with all my conservative friends either, in that I didn't mean, I don't know. But a provision that I have introduced that's getting a lot of support in that window of CRP is a Grazing Flexibility Act, the CRP Grazing Flexibility. And that seems to be getting support from all sides. It basically allows you, at halfway through your contract, if you're CRP, when you're required to do some management of the grass, right now you can burn it off, or you can chemically burn it off, or you can disc it. Because they just, with quail habitats and other things, the grass gets too thick, and so if you have a 10-year contract, they want you 5 years to do something. And you get cost share for doing that. If you do a chemical burn, or if you did, you get reimbursed from the government to help you pay to do that. My bill just says another option is you run cattle on it, and with no cost share. So it would save the government money, I mean, no, but yet it's actually better for the land. And if you're a hunter, you know the actual quail, pheasant, and other things like that better. Cattle tromps around on it. And if you're a cattle farmer, you get some really good grass there. So anyway, we're hoping that will get incorporated. I've introduced the Expanding Rural Investment in Jobs and Infrastructure Act. You know, the Farm Bill also has a lot of things from USDA loans and grant programs that go in our local communities. So it may go to the senior citizen housing complex in town, or it may go to the town gets some loans to help them repair or replace their sewer system or their water system. Those are grants that actually come from the Farm Bill, the USDA. My bill expands some grants that right now only go to communities of $20,000. I didn't get much sleep last night. I got in midnight. Okay, 20,000 population or less to use for either loans or grants to use in your local community to build police stations or libraries or hospitals or colleges or something. Great stuff. The thing is, half the money each year isn't being used. It just sits there. And so we have some communities that are like 23,000 in population or 25,000, and they're like, we would like to apply for that too. So my bill says the first half of the year, it's communities 20,000 population or less can apply. If there's money left over, we're going to open it up from 20 to 35,000. And that'll help a lot of communities in the 4th district have opportunity to apply for somebody that's just sitting there and that could come back here and help us. So I'm excited about that. I'm also going to work on rural broadband and some other things. But I wanted to get to the tax bill, tax reform bill, because we were getting down over here talking about it. We were starting to get depressed, talking about some of the things aren't getting done in Washington. And I don't want you to have indigestion at this point. We got a wonderful meal. By the way, wasn't that wonderful? Thank you, guys. They were out there grilling outside those fork steaks. It's a little bit chilly out there, but that was awesome. But so on a happy note, I want to end positive. We passed a major, tax reform bill. You probably heard about that. It was long overdue. It's been 31 years since we had revised our tax system. It was time. And there's several provisions. I want to start off and just talk about what maybe specifically might be interested to farmers, but then we've got a handout. We'll give it, but not yet. Why don't you hold on to that just a second? I've learned as a teacher, sorry, but if you hand out stuff too soon, everybody. So we're just going to wait just a second. Let me kind of preview just 4 things that are really good for us as farmers and helpful. So the estate tax. That is, I think, probably the most egregious tax out there, don't you? Where you have to work your entire life, build up your farm, pay taxes your whole life, and then just because you die and your children inherit it, they end up having to sell what you've worked your whole life on just in order to pay Uncle Sam. I mean, it's just wrong. We wanted to totally do away with it, but we didn't get that done, but we did make it so that it almost is not going to impact very many farms. Very many families by doubling the amount of money that can be passed on without it kicking in. And so now it goes up to an individual can pass on $11 million worth of assets to the children without it being impacted. For couples, $22 million. And so there's not that many farms in the area that would be beyond that. And so we thought that is good. We'll be able to preserve that life's work that we all do and pass it on to our next generation. We also have provision there for immediate expensing and expanded 179. So now you could buy something of a high dollar for your farm and you could expense it in 1 year. It actually can carry out for 5 years. If you don't need that much money, you can carry it out. So if you put grain in or whatever. We have a 20% decrease. That's still 22. As far as Section 179, we're going to expand that out to $1 million. Section 179 instead of 500,000, so that's good. And we're hopeful that that'll be good. If you have an S corporation, if your family's S corporation pass through up to $315,000, you have a 20% deduction on that from your taxes for that. So That will lower your taxes, plus every tax bracket individually gets lowered. So if you have an S corporation, first of all, you'll be able to deduct 20% of the income just right off the top. Plus, you'll be able to immediately expense any large investments you have. Plus, the amount that you finally have as income and you individually have to pay is at a much lower rate. So overall, you should be able to see a large reduction in the taxes, and that's the goal. The overall tax reform bill tried to do several things. One, we tried to let people keep more of their hard-earned dollar. We tried to make sure every individual in this country will get to keep more, because that's what you work all year for. You know better how to spend it than Washington, D.C. Secondly, we tried to make the system fair and more simple, so you don't have to pay somebody money to figure your taxes, or at least less people will have to. And then third, we wanted to get the economy going again, make America, competitive, and get companies to come back. And those were the three overall goals, and we were, I hope and I think we've achieved a lot of those things. Now, let's pass out the handout. I just wanted to leave you with something. We'll go over it real fast, but you can take it home and look at it. Introduce this as part of our team. We have a whole bunch of people that work for you. Okay, I work for you. Tyler here in the blue tie. Tyler Clifton is a farmer from Vernon County, graduated from the zoo, new to our team. You're field rep. So Tyler is based out of Columbia in our office there. But you need to get to know Tyler, super young man. Like I said, he was out this weekend back home visiting his folks, and he went out and cut some ice. So he knows all about all of that. And then we have Adam Timberman. He's a field rep, travels with me over in Harrisville. He has 6 counties on the west side. And Delilah Nichols, also a farm girl, but she's a district director. She's out of the Columbia office here. So this handout is kind of divided into, starts off for individuals and family. The front kind of goes over individual changes. And then if you look on the back, then it talks about the job creators, and summarizes some of those things. And then at the bottom just has a couple of other things that are in the bill that really don't, aren't as related to that, such as AMR. But just real quick on the front side, the second paragraph, that one sentence is pretty important. With this bill, the typical family for earning the median family income of $73,000 will receive a tax cut of $2,059. That's the bottom line. Let me give you a couple other scenarios. I think I've still got here. If you're a single mom, well, if you're a single mom, you're going to see a huge tax, a 73% tax cut. I think it's about $483 now that you would pay. Anyway, everybody gets out. Okay, so everybody has lower rates. It doubles the standard deduction. This is where you get the simplification, and if you want to go ahead and pass out now that they're all done, we have a card. Adam, will you want to hold up the card that they're going to pass out now? It just full disclosure, these are the old cards. These are the cards based on our House version of the bill. So they changed slightly, the final version, but still the concept is the same. The idea is we want to make this system, the tax code, so simple that people will be able to file it on a card. Very similar to this. And right now, 71% of Missourians do not itemize. We think under the new tax bill, 90% of Missourians will not itemize. They can fill out their taxes on the card, which will be awesome. So the standard deduction right now, if you're a couple, you will not have to pay taxes for the first $24,000 of your income. The standard deduction has been doubled. So that's good news. If you have children, if you're a young family, which we've tried to put a lot of things in here to help working class, middle income, lower income families, because too many families are living paycheck to paycheck. They're just barely getting by, still figuring out how they can get ahead. And so we're really targeted and trying to help them. If you have children, we doubled the child tax credit to $2,000 a child. And that will be really helpful. So lower the taxes, double the standard deduction, double the child tax credit, preserve the child dependent care tax credit, adoption tax credit, mortgage interest deduction is still there, medical deduction is there, charitable deductions, we eliminated volunteers' individual penalty tax. So people say, well, why are you able to do that? A taxable was because it's a Supreme Court rule, but that's a tax. That the mandate is you have to buy insurance. If you don't, the government fines you. Remember the Supreme Court said, no, that's not a fine, that's a tax. I disagree with that. We have so many people that cannot afford it. I have phone calls all the time. People say, I can't afford this. Yet the government's making me pay this money, and my deductibles are raised so high I can't even ever use it. So we have a lot more to do on healthcare reform for sure, but we thought at least this gives people relief. It isn't a choice. If you want to have health insurance, you can, but the government's not going to tax you if you don't. Earned income tax, we expanded 529 savings accounts. If you've been using those to save up money for your child's college education, now they can be used to save up money for their elementary or high school education as well, or if you homeschool or those things. We preserve the graduate students, like being able to still get their tuition tax-free. And that was an issue we talked about a lot. And then on the back side, you see we take the retirement savings. You still have, if you have a 401k or something, you still get those, or IRA, you still get those benefits. Increase the exemption from alternative minimum tax, and there's your doubling of the death tax. As far as I'll summarize, the job creators part is we wanted to make America competitive. You probably know that we have the highest corporate tax rate in the world, 35%. And that's why companies have just been leaving right and left and taking the jobs with them. We want them to come back. And so we lowered the rate down to 21%, and the way that we tax our companies that are in other countries from a worldwide tax system to territory. Bottom line, companies are already coming back. You may have heard this week, Apple announced they're coming back. And they're going to create 20,000 jobs here. They're repatriating that money that they've kept over shores. It's going to generate billions of dollars of tax revenue for us. And I think it's just the start. We've had 200 companies so far that have said they're going to give bonuses or raises to their employees, but now they have to send less money to Washington. They can invest it in their employees, invest in expanding, invest it right here, and grow things in this economy in Mexico, Missouri. So that's what we're hoping we can do. So I look forward to working with you on the Farm Bill and on anything else that we've got facing us as a nation. I haven't seen the new Farm Bill. The chairman of the committee has been changing and getting different words on when. I think I might get to see the draft on Monday. He's called us in for an all-day ag committee meeting, and so there's some people theorizing that we're going to finally get to see the draft of the Farm Bill and maybe start having some hearings. And I know it's his goal to pass it this spring, send it over to the Senate, and let them get it done, hopefully before the current Farm Bill expires September 30th. So that's the goal. But I'll see what you guys are interested in. What's on your mind? What questions you have? Yes?
Just a quick question on, you touched on a little bit earlier about welfare reform. Possibility, two parts of that I'd be interested in. The possibility of one, the mandatory, like you said, training, and the other part is mandatory drug testing. Is there any thought of that going into the welfare system?
Yeah, there is. I think that'll be a part of the discussion. It's really important, I think, that happens. Because for twofold, I don't think it's right for somebody who's paying taxes to have to pay for somebody they're going to potentially use it or misuse it and be on drugs. But then we need to identify and get that person help. If they're on drugs, it's not doing anybody good, them or their family or anybody else. So, yeah, they're very important. And see that, I know we talked earlier, thank you, he works down the correctional center here, and it's a tough job. So, first of all, thank you for that. I wanted to let you know of a couple of law enforcement bills that I've worked on and passed. Dealing with law enforcement, so we've got the sheriff here, and we've got some others. But one of them is the Police Officers Protecting Children Act that just passed a few weeks ago with the Concealed Carry Reciprocity Act. But it basically allows a local school district to change their policy to allow a retired police officer or an off-duty police officer to carry a gun on school property. And this came about because this was after one of the school shootings a few years ago. A grandfather went to his daughter or granddaughter's music program, sat there in the crowd, and this is a rural school in our district, and he said, you know, we are sitting ducks. I mean, if somebody would come into here, it'd be awful. And he says, I have been a law enforcement officer for 30 years. I'm still current. How come it's illegal for me because of the federal gun-free school zones, or gun-free safe school zones act? How come Washington says, you know, it's illegal for me to carry a gun here? And so he pushed about the idea, and so I, you know, started working on this. And so it's over in the Senate now, but I think we need to give our rural schools the option. If the school board wants to allow that, you know, sometimes some places it'll take 30 minutes for a sheriff's deputy to be able to get to our schools. And if you know there's a retired police officer down the street or somebody there at that football game or whatever, why not, you know, make a way for them to be able to do this? So that's one. And then I've been trying to do some things to deal with human trafficking. And we had a bill that passed mine, and it's over the Senate, because law enforcement Sex Trafficking Demand Act, and it basically expands your burn JAG funds, which is a main grant program that law enforcement use, to expand the options for different grants, including to be able to get a grant to go after sex trafficking demand. Because it's not just the women or that are caught up in this through drugs or through being, you know, some other way that we should try to help, but we need to go after the guys buying and using these services of our children and women. You know, they need some penalties, and there's a lot of, you know, sheriff's departments and others that want to do that. They just don't have the force. They don't have the money in their department. So anyway, hopefully that passes. So thank you. Good question. What else? Yes. Hi.
You know, I've got some neighbors that are in the 50s, and this health insurance issue is killing them. It's killing the small business community, and it's really, it's an obstruction to young people in neighborhood. Because if you have assets, the hospital can take you don't have to get help. And some of these guys, I mean, their insurance bill is just skyrocketing. I mean, it is absolutely nuts. And you got a big deductible, they got a big premium,
Yeah.
and they're just stuck with substantial.
It is. It's a disaster. It has to be fixed. You know, some people call it Obamacare. Others call it the real name is the Affordable Care Act, and patient protection. It goes on, but it ended up not being affordable. And I think it was well-intentioned. I mean, if you look before that passed, I mean, the healthcare system was things were going up, and so they're trying to come up with a plan. I mean, to address it. But the reality is, it isn't working. It isn't working, and so we have got to repeal and replace it with a better system that will drive down the costs and give people more access. In the House, you know, we did pass a bill to do that. And it didn't, you know, it lost in the Senate, but we've got to keep doing what we can to fix this, because people, bottom line, people are hurting. People are hurting.
I've been seeing a little bit on the internet about the rural areas of California want to pull away from that state.
Yeah.
They're leaving the cities to themselves.
I saw that too. Yeah. Don't think it'll happen, but yeah, I saw that. Yeah. And it is, some of my colleagues that I visit with, there is a real dichotomy out there. You know, the people in the rural areas say, we're not like San Francisco or whatever, but they control the government and the population centers, so it's tough for them. I feel for them. Yes, sir. Oh.
I'm happy about the stock market as a matter of fact.
Yes.
It's going
Yes,
up.
another piece of good news, stand on. Yay!
Good. But hopefully the economy doesn't heat up too much if we have a bust over.
Yeah, that's true. I just have read or actually saw on TV one of these business shows, and who knows, but from what I understand, a lot of the indicators though are that they think it will, you know, continue strong for a long time. They don't see it as conditions of some of the past that this may be only temporary, and then, you know. So I was encouraged to hear that. I have no idea if that's true or not, but I'm very hopeful. Yeah.
You were mentioning all the problems we have in Missouri. I know a Chinese guy that goes way to southern Missouri and picks up a pickup truck load of rice for his restaurant. So besides rice, do we still grow tobacco in the South down there or no?
much of that or heard much from people that do. I don't think you do. I'm not sure. A lot of rice and cotton. Yeah, rice is big, and so we're doing things. Yeah. Well, anyway, it's an honor to be here. I appreciate Farm Bureau and all that you do, what you mean in this community, what you mean in the state. It's great to see a lot of my fellow friends and the county office holders and the state rep, and just appreciate getting to partner with all of you to try to make our country better and stand strong for our values for future generations. So thank you for letting me come tonight, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thanks.
We're gonna let Vicky go on home. She got in at midnight last night and to Harrisonville, and she was in Columbia this morning at 9:30. It's been going ever since, so.
That's great.
Well, thank you. We'll let each of our elected officials come up and speak if they'd like to. We'll ask Jay Houghton.
This is my last year, so we're going to have to find somebody to replace me. What the best way is to say it, things kind of been tumultuous at the castle since we got down there. I think, my opinion is we just need to let this thing ride out. Do I agree with what the governor did? I do not. Absolutely 100% agree with what he did. However, what he did was not illegal. At least at this point, it doesn't appear as though it was. So I think we just need to let this thing ride out, see what happens, and go from there. And I think that there were a handful of state reps and senators that called for his resignation. But I think for the most part, from what I gathered, the folks in the Republican caucus on the House side feel like we just need to let things ride. As far as policy goes, we're working on a few things. One thing that I know Farm Bureau has kind of been lukewarm on, not hot on, not cold on, industrial hemp. We're working on that. I actually heard the industrial hemp bill in ag policy today. And I know it's been heard in the Senate. And Farm Bureau wants one phrase put in the language, and I think, I haven't confirmed this with the Senate yet, but I think that we will get that in. And BJ Tanksley, I don't know if you all know BJ, but BJ told me his opinion is if we put that in there, Farm Bureau will be jumping up and down for joy and will support the bill. So, just another option for people that are interested in growing hemp. I don't know how many of you are familiar with hemp. Hemp is not marijuana. Flat out not marijuana. Two completely different plants. Matter of fact, if hemp and marijuana cross-pollinate, it ruins both of them. So, the THC level in, which is what makes you high, okay? The THC level in hemp is way down here, and marijuana is up here. And if they cross-pollinate, it breaks both of them up, so it ruins both of them. There was a lady that came in and spoke today and testified in committee. She said in Oregon, they actually, I guess, my understanding is, they have legalized marijuana out there, so therefore, they've had to set up perimeters where for 4 miles all you can grow is marijuana. For 4 miles all you can do is grow hemp. So they've had to segregate it all. I knew in Colorado that the hemp guys and the marijuana guys were fighting with each other because it was cross-pollinating. So, it's just another option for the farmers. How many of us around here will grow up? I don't know. I really don't have any idea. But it's used in a lot of products. People don't realize the number of products it's used in. Probably most of our vehicles out there, there's some form of hemp in it. So, that's one thing. What else? Of course, last year we dealt with the dicamba thing, that was a big issue. Not so much here, but southeast Missouri is a bad deal. 2 years in a row, it was really bad, really bad. I was down there not this past summer, but summer before last, I was down there, and there were fields that just devastating. And not hit just one time either, hit 3 or 4 times. To me, I mean, I think a lot of it, what's going on down there is, there are some folks down there that don't care about their neighbor. Just plain and simple, that's what it boils down to. They don't care about their neighbor, and they're gonna do whatever they want to, when they want to. And you also have folks from Arkansas that own Missouri ground, Tennessee that own Missouri ground, they don't care about Missouri. So, that's just kind of some of the challenges that they're dealing with down there. Dealing with some animal legislation this year again, trying to protect the folks a little bit, so. That's about it. If you guys ever have any questions or anything, please feel free to give me a call. One more year. Yes, Mr. John.
Anything exciting going on in your life?
No. I got engaged, when was that? In October, wasn't it? It's been so long ago, I had to ask. In October, Kai, for those of you that have not met Kai, stand up and say hi. We got engaged. Kai is from Memphis, Missouri, and we met online. Kai, the North Valley River runs through Memphis. I embarrass you. The North Valley River runs through Memphis, and the farm that I grew up on further down the North Valley runs through our farm. So whenever we got engaged to her daughter, and one of her daughter-in-laws thought that we needed to have a beach wedding. The North Valley River has a lot of sandbars.
We know what month.
February.
Yeah.
So anyway, Kai's been great support. She's been excellent for me, and my boys. So, any other questions? Nothing about the governor?
Yes. As a state worker, I can tell you the pay raise issue, I know it's a big thing, I hear about a lot, but have you all voted on your pay raise this year?
No.
I mean, so I know, if a no vote's the same as a yes vote, right?
No, not correct. We have to, okay, so there's a commission, okay? There is a commission that recommends whether or not we get a pay raise or not. And we have to approve that pay raise, okay? We as House members have to approve that. If we don't, and we've never taken one since I've been down there in 8 years. So, for those of you that want to know how much I make $35,900 a year.
Same thing I made.
Yeah.
10 years
So, no, it's up to us as to whether or not, I mean, the commission recommends, and they did recommend a pay raise for us a couple of years ago, and we shot it down. And partially because of that right there. Road.
What are you all trying to do with the budget on road?
That's a really good question.
I've got a lot of friends that work for the state highway department, most of them are all no longer living, but
You know, I've heard anywhere from a proposed 10 to 12 cent increase in taxes to go to the vote of the people, whether or not they want that. One thing we have to be careful about is that whole thing called the Hancock Amendment. So, and that can throw a monkey wrench into things. I'm not saying the Hancock Amendment's bad, but in this situation, it could hinder us because of how much we can raise the tax.
Are they still talking about the toll road tax?
That's, toll roads were probably there when Steve was there, probably there when John was there, probably. Toll roads will always be there. They're always, you know, they're always threatening toll roads. I don't see that happening. I really don't. Whether it's the right thing or the wrong thing, I don't know, but.
You have a lot of money.
But, oh yeah, yeah. Well, see, Highway 44 in Oklahoma, you get across the line down to Joplin, you get into Oklahoma, Highway 44 is a toll road. But,
And has been since the fifties.
yeah, yeah.
I lived there.
Yeah, and I don't know, it's something about the way they did the federal road bill. We cannot toll road Highway 44 in the state of Missouri.
Actually, when the Calvin had their convention, first month, actually, they did come out with a, resolution to support some type of increased funding for roads in the state of Missouri. But there's one little hitch, the Department of Conservation and the Department of Transportation need to quit using the streets, so that's the diesel on the right of way.
I agree. John, what John said was, he said that MDC, Missouri Department of Conservation and Transportation Department, needs to quit using serratia less diesel. Serratia less diesel is terrible. I mean, it's really bad, and it'll take over your grass in a hurry. You know, you want to talk about funding? Some people don't like this, some people don't want to stab me, I'm sure. But, you know, they kept talking about, well, think outside the box when it comes to transportation funding. Well, one of the bills that I had last year, I didn't file it this year, I did file it last year, was we bring the conservation tax up for vote every 10 years, like in my opinion it should. It's the only tax that doesn't come up every 10 years. And give half that money to transportation. But guess what? That bill went absolutely nowhere. Yes, sir.
I have another curiosity question, I guess. In the last few years, they tried to raise the cigarette tax, and both times they pulled it down. I'm against smoking and all that. But they always want to put it towards something like education, and the majority of cancers, especially lung cancers, caused from tobacco products. Why do they not, I don't know politics very well, why do they not want to put that towards something like research and things like that? Because I've lost a friend that cancer years long, but he wasn't inside.
So what you're saying is basically take tax the cigarettes to go towards research, is that what you're?
Yes, yes.
Because that's not touchy-feely, feel-good? I mean, that's just it, plain and simple. You know, if it goes to the kids, it's the best thing since sliced bread. But if it goes to research to figure out a cure for cancer, that's not near as feel-good as what the kids are.
I heard pipe tobacco is taxed.
I don't know.
Cigarette taxes. All the countries, you know, the northern European countries, Sweden, Denmark, all those places, very, very high.
Well, I was curious, and thank you for your answer, but I've been wondering that for a long time too.
That's the only thing, I mean, I really don't know, but that's my gut feeling, is that it's not feel good.
I love for our friends. And gone.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Minimum tax, or what the rate increase on the water here in Missouri, Missouri.
Okay.
And here the American Water Company, they pick a big tax rate, on the new tax bill that's passed. And why do they need a rate increase?
If they're getting
Because they did one 2 years ago, and they're going to research this.
Well,
I can't understand why they have to have another rate increase and get a big tax rate.
I will tell you this much, okay? I used to be the mayor of a big town like, and Missouri DNR was just bound to determine that we needed to do our point like water system. We had our own well. The only reason that they were on us was because we didn't have a backup source of water. So we got what Vicky was talking about. We got a USDA loan, and we drilled another well. In my opinion, water is an asset to a town. And if you can keep control of that, then you're better off. So, as far as, I don't know. I mean, that's a Mexico issue. It's not a state issue. But that's just my opinion on the water.
Well, the public service commission, they're the ones that kind of lead the rate increase.
Do they do water?
Do what?
They do here. Okay, thank you.
Brian or Justin, would either of you like to say a few words on behalf of Congressman Graves or Senator McCaskill?
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to be here, and I'll just, Congresswoman Hartzler covered most everything agriculture related, and I would just echo that on behalf of Congressman Graves. He sent a letter to the chairman of the Agriculture Committee here a few months back, and essentially outlined what he would like to see as part of the next farm bill, and essentially it's everything she just talked about. So I will just leave that there. There is one thing I wanted to mention, and that's in relation to numeric nutrient criteria. That's an important issue. It's another one of those deals where the EPA is going to regulate water issues, and in this instance, it's moving right along, and it's going to happen if something doesn't get changed. And so, without going into a big long explanation of what it is, because I'll be honest, I don't fully understand what it is. It just has to do with some water quality issues. Basically, EPA said you have to have certain rules. DNR came in. If you had to have certain rules, DNR had to come up with a plan. That plan got rejected, and because it got rejected, the EPA's plan would supersede what they came up with. Well, as a result, a lot of your lakes around the state will be affected, and that would include lakes like Mark Twain Lake. And so, essentially, the Congressman Graves, Senator Blunt, and others have come together, congressional delegation, and they're in the process of meeting with the EPA administrator, and trying to get that figured out. So I know that doesn't get too far into it, but just know it's another one of those issues where the EPA is getting into your backyard and in your water, and that would cause great increases with your municipality. So I will get to you in just a minute, Jeff. Hold on. So anyway, there's been an extension. They'll get to it, and hopefully we can work that out at the federal level so the DNR's rule will be the accepted rule. That would be our hope. Because if not, it's going to cost $1.7 billion. That's the estimation for municipalities and farmers. Okay. Go ahead.
So what about irrigation lakes and pond soils?
I do not know. Spencer probably does. I know they've worked on this. I'm not going to put you on the spot, but she probably can get you.
I'll stick around if anybody has questions.
Because like I said, it's something, the reason I bring it up is because there's a public comment period right now. And I would encourage you to go and comment on that, so they know that you want the DNR's rule as opposed to the EPA's rule. The DNR's rule will still affect lakes in Missouri, some, but not nearly as many. Like, it's the difference between 34 and 113, and 30 wastewater facilities and 739. So it's a drastic difference. So anyway, go comment publicly if you would, on behalf of farmers and municipalities. It will greatly affect you, as tends to be the case every time the EPA decides they're wanting to regulate something more so. Yes, Representative.
So where do you need to go to comment on that?
I believe that's,
You want me to answer?
Spencer's got it.
So Missouri Farm Bureau has a legislative action center on our website. If you go to mofb.org, click on issues and policies and click on action center. It takes less than a minute. We've preloaded a comment in there. You can add in your extra message to the EPA. You got to enter your name, your email address, hit the button, and it goes as a comment. So be happy to answer any more questions as well. We worked a lot with Congressman Graves' office on this issue.
Yeah, it's certainly something that's of great concern to us. And that's the extent of what I have, I think, other than transportation and infrastructure, which Congressman Graves is very much involved in. Infrastructure bill, expect to see something on that, a big infrastructure package State of the Union, which is next week. So, roads, rails, rivers, the whole thing, rural broadband, we would like to see all of those things addressed because they obviously do greatly impact our state. So, again, thanks so much. Good evening. My name is Justin from Senator McCaskill's office. It is an absolute pleasure to be here with you all tonight. So I just really wanted to get up here and introduce myself. I'm the Newfield representative for Senator McCaskill out of our Columbia office. I was previously a staff assistant. Most of my counties were in central Missouri and a little bit southeast of central Missouri as well. So right now I'm getting familiar with most of the northeast counties that have been assigned to me as well. So it's a blast, it really is, to come out here and meet with you all. I come from a little small town called Barb, Missouri, if you've heard of us, so we're pretty famous. So, you know, moving forward to with the legislative year, Brian touched on it. You know, the big thing that we're really looking forward to is infrastructure. I think that the biggest thing I know that Senator McCaskill is really excited about is the fact that rural broadband is starting to be talked in the same discussions with infrastructure. We're moving beyond it being a separate issue, so it's something we're really happy about and looking forward to work on with the other side of the aisle and get some bipartisan compromises going on that issue. So we're very, very excited about that. The other thing too, like I said, we just want to be an extension to you all. Feel free to reach out to us when it comes to the farm bill or infrastructure or anything. Reach out to my office. I would be happy to come out and meet with you all. Like I said, it's just a really good time to come out to these meetings and hear from you. So if you have any questions, I'm new in this position, so take it easy on me. But if you have any questions, I'd be happy to give you a see what we have. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you both for coming this evening. Steve and Alan and Tracy, do you all want to come up together or one at a time, whatever you want to do?
Giving us this platform to come and speak and at least recognize what we're doing. And today in the office, I drew a short straw, so I got to go first, but that means my speech is going to be the shortest. So a couple things that I want to identify that the county's been very active in is Partners in Employment and Education Coalition. So it was in the paper the other day about the group that has come together, the manufacturers, the school districts, the city. Russell Lunch has been a great asset to this, the county, and also Mobile Area Community College has come together and formed this coalition to generate interest for the young kids in school to experience what it's like to have a real job in their own community without having to move away and going in debt to go to some school that they may not get a job afterwards. So it's a great opportunity for the small kids and to see what the workforce is really like nowadays. It's not brick plants. It's a lot of this is high tech. Mobile Area Community College is starting 2 new programs. One of them is called Megatronics, and that is directed specifically at the manufacturing industry, hydraulics, electronics, mechanical devices, and they formed this program, and they're running it in Columbia, and they've got it full, and they don't have enough room over there, so they're expanding to Mexico and using the facility out here at the Advanced Technology Center, which will soon be identified as Mobile Area Community College, because WinTech has left that facility. The other program that they're starting is Associates of Applied Science and Agricultural degree that the county was very involved with, and they formed criteria and a program to be able to have kids in this community go through this school and use their A+ credits from high school to get associates of applied science and go directly back to their farm or another agriculture industry and work right here in Audrain County and the surrounding area. So that's another very big positive thing that Mobile Area Community College has done. I want to give a big kudos, I haven't seen anybody from the city, for the expansion of Spartan. That took a great effort on Russell Grange and Bruce Slagle, the city. Progress Mexico was involved. There's a lot of people involved. It's bringing 100 new positions to this community and another tax base that we didn't have previously. So if anybody is concerned about the taxes that they're paying, this is new taxes, so they're not getting abatements on any existing infrastructure, equipment. So this is all new tax base. So if they wouldn't expand, we wouldn't have that. So if somebody says, oh, they're just taking money out of the school district or out of the county, that's wrong. It's new money that's coming in. So I want to make sure that the city is recognized for that because they did a great job of doing that. The other thing that the county has done since I've been involved in, it's only been a year now, so Alan and I are still sort of trying to figure all this out. But one of the goals that we came up with last year was to visit existing businesses to see what it takes for them to operate in Audrain County and the surrounding area. So we've done several business visits. We're getting educated on what it takes for them to operate their business in Audrain County, and we're just trying to form those relationships. So if there's something that comes up that we see that we can help them with, or vice versa, that it's open to a policy, and it's the same for anybody here. It's open to a policy at the commission office. So if you have any questions, I'm not going to answer any questions. I'm going to let But if you have any questions during regular business hours, feel free to come and visit us at the commission office. Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. Good job. I'm Alan Winters, Eastern Associate Commissioner, the Eastern side. Tracy said, as Tracy said last year, both of us stood up here and said, well, we've only been here a few days, we really don't know what's going on. Tracy will tell you that, I think he did tell you, I still don't know what's going on, but Tracy's getting it figured out. So we are working hard, and one of the things that we've been working on that I wanted to update you on tonight was the jail project. And we all know now somewhere right now is on time and within budget. So we anticipate that will be done sometime this summer. It's an expansion, adding 32 beds, and it's an important project for a number of reasons, not the least of which is we have to take care of the infrastructure that we've paid for over time, right, that we put in place. And this was a way to do that without seeking any new taxes, no new revenue streams. Actually, the previous county commission deserves a credit for getting that kicked off. It's a good project and protects the investment that we have made in those facilities in the county. I want to commend our Farm Bureau on what I saw in the winter 2018 magazine as it related to broadband. You heard Vicky mention broadband, and in that magazine, broadband access is listed as a priority, both on the national and on the state level. As you know, in Audrain County, in rural Audrain County, I'm sure that you know, there are places where there just is no broadband access, right? And of course, I grew up on a farm in the eastern end, and I think it was a Gleaner keg, and Phil could probably tell for sure that we had out there. And I can tell you that it never missed one software update for lack of broadband. But today's combines will. You need to have that broadband access. Some areas of our county have it. The farm that I live on, the farm that I grew up on, we happen to be in Farber Telephone District in the Farber Telephone Service area, and there's fiber to my house. And there was when we moved there. My wife's a school teacher at Vandalia, and we just would not have been able. She would not have been able to do her job, and we would not have been able to move there without that broadband access being there. It has changed from being something we want to have to something we need. an important infrastructure if we expect people to be able to live in the rural area and to be able to get their drones and their combines updated and all of those sorts of things. So broadband access is very important. The Audrain County Commission doesn't have anything directly to do with broadband access, but we see it as a priority, and our intention is to promote that idea whenever we have the opportunity to do that in any way possible. One of those ways, as I was thinking about that, what do we really have to do? Often we hear from an individual or a contractor that says, well, what are your rules? What are the county rules about this? And we'll say, well, you know, it's pretty easy. This is how you, if you're going to operate in the right of way, this is what you have to do. And they'll say, wow, we came from one county over that touches this county, and the rules are a lot different. There are a lot more regulations. Of course, we have to have the regulations that are necessary to protect the public infrastructure, but I think our county commission is committed to not having any more regulations than we need. Regulations are are a huge burden to taxpayers everywhere. I'm proud to serve with Steve and Tracy, in spite of what Janice calls us sometimes. And I'm proud to serve with our group of elected officials. I have learned over the course of this year that your elected officials in Audrain County, to a person, are intent and committed to providing you good service in this county and to looking for ways to make improvements in this county. And that makes me very proud to be a part of that team. It's an honor to serve you. And finally, I'm going to leave you with this. Steve told me he was going to talk for 5 minutes and he was going to say something. So let's hold him to that.
Actually, I was 50 minutes. Thanks everybody for having us here tonight. It's a pleasure to be here. A little housekeeping. Kate Becker is not here tonight. I got a text message from her about 8 o'clock this morning. Both her and Ross had the flu. Isn't that a blessing? For all of us that have gone through that for the last few weeks, we know what they're going through. So they couldn't be here tonight, or they would have been here. You know, things don't change a whole lot at the courthouse. Things kind of stay the same. But next year, some things are going to change that haven't changed for 35 years. Shelley Harvey, our county clerk, is going to retire. She's worked there for 35, 36 years. She started when she was 7. She's been your county clerk for 22 of those years. And she's done a fantastic job, and she's the best clerk in the state of Missouri, and I'll arm wrestle anybody that wants to argue with you on that. So we're kind of sad about that. You know, though, we're kind of blessed. The lady that's going to run to replace her, she's a rookie. She's only been there 15 years. Lisa Smith and Rick are back here tonight. Lisa's going to be running for that position. So we're real excited about that. Stand up, Lisa. We're going to miss Shelley coming in and saying, you boys are just spinning us into oblivion. Well, maybe not. But anyway, I want to talk to you a little bit. A couple of years ago, we talked to you all about a need we had in the county, and that was small structures tax. And Farm Bureau was very gracious and supported that, just like we did for 25 years when we were doing the bridge tax, where we replaced over 200 bridges in excess of 20 foot in length. Herb Snicker's here tonight, but he'd be smiling because we just opened up a bridge on Monday. Isn't that right, Tracy? Monday? We were down there by Herb, that his daughter stuck a field cultivator underneath one night, taking the tractor to there because it was only 12 foot tall. It was pretty wide, but it was only 12 foot tall. And we just got done replacing that, the last bridge on Quiver River on the Montgomery County line with a 137 foot long bridge. That's open to traffic now. Got one more down on the west end of the county. We're in right-of-way negotiations on that right now. But we're now working through the small structures tax. And spent over $100,000 last year on structures that were under 20 foot in length. We've replaced pipes in Ladonia Farber. We've done them in Special 13 Road District. We've done them in Sailing Road District. We've done them in Vandalia Special. And we've done them in the county. And we're also going to be doing them in the cities. Thank you all again for supporting us on that. The work continues to go on. The amount of structures we're going to be able to replace over the next 20 years is just staggering. It's our goal that in Audrain County, no farmer, no business person, no UPS truck should be stopped from coming to your farm, your business, because they cannot cross a bridge or a structure in our county. And we're working hard for that, and thanks to the voters in this room, we're going to reach that goal. So we're real excited about that. Like I say, the work's going really, really good, and we're really pleased. This year, right outside of Mexico, some of you that are familiar with where the old trestles are at, Special 13 has a little bridge out there, and we're going to be replacing that. That's going to go back like a 45-foot bridge, and right now it's like an 8-foot culvert. But it floods, it's dangerous, and we've been able to put together the engineering to be able to replace that next year. Those are the type of things we're replacing. We're going to continue to replace, and I want to thank you for your help on that. Also want to close with the fact that I know some of the other elected officials come up here, but I'm telling you, like Alan and Tracy were saying, I'm proud of our group of people. We have a great bunch of people to work with. They work really hard to make sure that we don't spend any more money than we absolutely have to, and they take great pleasure when they come in and say, I didn't use all my budget last year. You know what, folks, that's something to be valued. I don't think it's valued maybe in Washington, D.C. or in Jefferson City as much as it should be. So I'm really proud to be able to work with them, and it's a great honor to work for Audrain County. So unlike Tracy, I'll take questions if you have any, but I know you don't want to get home, so probably don't ask me questions without any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Sheriff Vandalia.
I was in the commission chambers during budget a couple of weeks ago, and I had to take something and do one of these with it, and Steve handed me his glasses, so he decided to do that again. I'm going to blast through this because I've been threatened by the women folk at my table. If I go beyond 2 minutes, a cup of coffee is going to start flying at me. So a lot of this stuff was already discussed, or at least some of what I was going to discuss. One of the things was the jail expansion that Alan touched on. That was absolutely the commission's sweetheart from long before I ever even filed for office or even thought about running for office. Those decisions have been made. It's going along very well. I can tell you that my hat's off to my staff. I know Danny and Penny are here tonight, and I can't tell everybody how much. When I start talking about this stuff, I want everybody to understand that this is done on the backs of my staff. This is not things that I've gone out and done. You know, folks look at me and wave, and a lot of times I get credit for things I didn't do when it was my staff. So I want to thank my staff first off. And where else can you go when it's 30 degrees outside and get barbecued pork steak? So thanks to the Knights of Columbus too. 2017 was really busy for us. We saw an increase of over 2,000 calls for service prior to from 2016 to 17. I looked and I don't have a rhyme or reason for why that went the way it did. There was nothing out of the ordinary other than just more of the same. Our clearance rates stayed above the national average all year. Property crimes were somewhere in the 42 or 43% clearance. National average is somewhere around 15%. So we're clearing double of the property crimes that the rest of the country is. Auto thefts, 75%, the national average is 12. Assaults, 97%, the national average is 56. So we're doing very well. You know, there's a lot of numbers and stuff here. The numbers I'm most proud of, though, a couple of numbers I'll throw out, and this is not one of the ones I'm proud of. Last year, we had 1,471 new bookings into our county jail. Those are not contracted prisoners. Those are not other counties' prisoners. Those belong to us. Those are our prisoners. Now, they may be the same person that's been booked in 5 different times for 5 different criminal charges, but each time they come in our door, they have to be booked. 1,471 new bookings in this nice Mayberry-ish rural county. So our average daily number of inmates hovers around 70 most of the time. Our high census day last year was 92. Our low census day was 53. So it'll vary a lot of times in any given month, as Judge Dalton can tell you, he's sitting here. A lot of times this stuff will vary by people. There may be a law day that 10 or 12 people get sentenced to the Department of Corrections, and then the next day they're gone. So our census goes down by 12 overnight. You know, there's a whole lot of stuff that goes into whether or not somebody's in our jail and how long they're there for. Of those 1,471 new persons that were booked in, somewhere around 1,180 of them were transported in and out of our jail to court, to the courts, to doctor's appointments. That was roughly 40,000 miles of prisoner transports. We are plagued, I guess, is the word that I would use when you compare us to other places. We are plagued with the fact that our jail is not connected to our courthouse. We don't have the justice center system here like some places do. So there's a lot of transporting prisoners that go on, and with that comes liability, comes risk, comes time, comes fuel, comes mileage. So, but our folks do very well in the safe transport of prisoners. We haven't had an incident since 1990 something. I forget when that was. Yeah, it'll be okay, Steve. The couple of numbers I wanted to touch on, though, the numbers that I'm most proud of, at least in my first year. I have one budget, but there's 2 different pieces of that budget. There's a sheriff's operations budget, which covers the patrol side and administration side, and then there's a totally separate part of the budget that operates the jail. In sheriff's operations, we came in about $59,000 under budget. In the jail operations, which I'm most proud of, we came $157,000 under what we were budgeted. So make no mistake about it, we're not trying to waste your money. We're making good choices on how we spend it. Unfortunately, as the county commission can tell you, running the sheriff's office and jail is not a money-making project. It's always going to cost the taxpayers money, and that's a real shame because there's really no way to get that back. But just to let everybody know, we're doing what we can to make sure that we're not going to, if we don't need to, we're not spending it all. Any questions? Anybody? Awesome. I didn't see a coffee cup fly up here, so
I believe you have some handouts available.
yeah, I do. I brought about 30 or 40 copies of this. I can throw out numbers at you all day long. By the time you get home or you want to talk about it with somebody tomorrow, you forgot what the number is. So if you want to take one, they're back here on the table. Feel free to grab it.
It's the 2017 Sheriff's Office report, so you may want to take it home and look at it. Janice, you want to come up and say a few words?
I don't know how you made me fall on the steps.
That poor man, he fell and split his pants.
I did not split my pants. I ripped the E out.
I had nothing to do with
too, which was great. And I am still with the same software company that, thank goodness, Virginia found them because they're awesome. They are getting ready to try to phase this out of what we're in and go to a new program within their company. And that program will provide more accuracy to where I haven't asked for the touch screens yet, which maybe, next year or so. But you can click on a name, move it over, so there's less chance of typos with names, because the computer's only going to find it the way you typed it in. And it should help with more accuracy. And so we're hoping maybe by this summer, I'll be up and going on that. And so we're real excited. The ones that have already switched to it are very excited. And luckily, Virginia signed a life cycle contract, so it doesn't cost the county a dime. So it's great. So another thing, which we still have the property fraud alert. And I kind of looked up last year at this time, we had about 350 signed up on it. And I'm happy to say we've got close to 700 on it now. And what that does is it watches anything that comes through my office if you sign up for it. And if anything comes through with your name on it, it's going to notify you and tell you there's been activity. John just signed up, and you're going, yeah, that's right, because they had
just this week.
And it works. So, and that way, if you don't know something that went on, then you can notify the sheriff's office or whatever possible illegal activity that that may be some, because everything in our office is public record, so they can come in and get a copy of anything that's recorded there, and it's public record. I can't do anything about it. So, but if you want to sign up for it, it's free of charge, and just give us a call if you don't know how to do it. It should have been in your tax statement. And also, probably a lot of you know that I was involved in February in a bad wreck, where I was driven by a girl doing 60 miles an hour, broke my neck, and had a lot of other issues. And I have to say, I have a wonderful staff. I have a full-time Betty Hester and a part-time Sharon Hinkey, and Cindy Woolridge also kind of piggybacked with Sharon while I was off work, which I was off for a month. And the doctor said I wasn't supposed to go back for at least 2 months, but I proved him wrong, and with the help of my husband, he was tired of being home. He picked me up every day for a month, so I appreciate the support that everybody gave us, but I was able to work from home some, and I got back quicker than I thought, so I do appreciate it. So if anybody's got any questions or wants to sign up, just give us a call.
Bessie?
Well, we're in personal property mode again. January 2nd, we sent out over 11,000 assessment sheets, not only to individuals, but also to businesses. At the close of the office today, we had a little over 4,000 of those back. This year, the penalties, if you do not turn your sheet in, have increased. So make sure you get that turned in by March 1st. That's pretty well all that's going on right now in the office is we're doing personal property. So we look forward to seeing your sheets. Thank you.
I've got one thing. If anybody notices the lady with the biggest smile in the house, it is Brenda Fife. But she's retiring the end of this month. For the ledger, and so it's in there, but if for some reason it doesn't get in there, because we're not exactly sure who we're supposed to do or what we're supposed to do after she leaves, you can still get it available through the Band-Aid leader. So. I mean, not to, promote one over the other, but, we're just, tell Ron.
Okay, Patty, would you like to say a word?
Just real quick.
You're right.
I just wanted to let you all know that my office, of course, it's just me, but I've been busy finalizing month end, got month end done, then did year end.
let you know that, you know, December comes, you pay your taxes, and then you wonder, where does all that money go? Well, the collector, she compiles it, and then the first of the month, she turns it over to me. So, of course, December is very busy for her, and then she turns it over to me in January. I just wanted to let you know that last week, as soon as I got it, I turned around and paid over $17 million out to different entities in the county. School districts alone, I paid out almost $14 million that was collected in December in the collector's office. So we've been very busy. Also, when I went into office, I didn't realize that I took care of some cemeteries, rural cemeteries. There's 8 of them that we take care of and make sure that they're mowed. Ladonia Cemetery is a little different. I take care of the bulk of the money, and they request money once a year. But Mr. Little Barker had an ad or article in the Mexico Ledger. He has expressed concern about the rural cemeteries and how there's not a lot of donations made. So this year I want to make it a point to, you know, get out and try to spark interest in these rural cemeteries because, you know, unfortunately when the cemeteries run out of money in their fund, the county's done with them. So, you know, hopefully it's that some citizens can take it over, but once the county's done, we're done. But anyway, that's all I have. Jacob? You guys want to fight over it?
2 minutes. Well, you know it's getting bad when there's only 2 lawyers left in the microphone.
Don't-
Another pot of coffee on back there?
Don't start arguing.
I didn't do that very well, did I?
That's all right. As Matt said, as Sheriff said, the last year has been a busy year for us. 2017, we filed 1,068 criminal cases, which is up 150 from 2016. It's drugs, it's stealing, it's criminal stupidity. Stupid's not illegal, but the state legislature is still in session. You know, we have seen a number of different things over this past year. One of the things that I'm proudest is that our good relationship with local law enforcement continues. Sheriff Fowler and his office worked 2 different death investigations, one a homicide, another one that's a death investigation that's still outgoing, and they still delivered a tremendous amount of work on each of those cases, and they delivered under budget and on time, and with a very high level of professionalism. I know that when I get a report from the sheriff's office, that the men and women that bring me that report have worked hard to do it, they're well trained to do it, and we're a very blessed county to have the sheriff's office in Texas as well as they do. I can say the same thing about many of our law enforcement agencies, and it's wonderful to be able to work with folks that are as dedicated as the ones that serve and protect each of you. We're having a very busy, things are just very busy. The next 5 weeks for us include 12 days in jury trial. Monday, I have a child sex abuse trial. Wednesday through Friday of next week, I have a different child sex abuse trial. I have another trial on February 15th. I don't know, it's kind of spin the wheel of trials and see which one comes up next. And we have a 1.5-week long murder trial for the death of Trooper James Baba in St. Charles County. So we'll be traveling to St. Charles County for a week and a half to try that case. My staff and I are dedicated to doing the best we can with the resources we can to keep the county as safe as we can. We like holding offenders accountable. We talk a lot about accountability in the office. We talk about responsibilities. The sheriff's office, the law enforcement have a responsibility to solve crimes, to protect and to serve. And we have a very serious job to do in making sure that we can try to change lives as best we can. Unfortunately, I tell people a lot, I'm a really good surgeon, but my tools aren't all that great. I kind of have this sledgehammer. It's do what we tell you or else. So it makes it hard to change hearts and minds. One of the things that we see over and over again in our courtroom and over again in our society is just more and more people are less willing to take personal responsibility, and those things start at home. you guys know that. The hard work and dedication that you show in your businesses and on your farms and everywhere else, you're raising your kids right. Too many people aren't. And that's just something we're going to have to all work on together. What else? Gosh, pretty heavy there, wasn't it? I appreciate the support that we've gotten from members of the community in trying to find new and different ways to approach challenges in the criminal justice system. Congresswoman Hartzler talked about treatment courts. We have a functional, good treatment court program in Audrain County that the circuit court and that our local agencies are helping fund. We are bringing people out of addiction. We're working with them through treatment. We're putting them back into the community to be productive taxpayers. I was just in the courthouse just today. I was talking with somebody else on a number of different cases that we had. One of my treatment court graduates from 9 years ago came up and said, it's because of you and your team that I got clean and sober. He pays taxes, he owns a business, and he employs other people. And 9 years ago, I didn't think that was going to happen. And so, treatment courts work. Give us the opportunity to do it. We'll spend your money right when we do it. So I wanted to leave you with some success stories this time, that we are changing the culture, we're changing the community, and we appreciate your support in doing so. Thanks.
Judge Noel, would you like to say a few words?
Well, if I'm last, I'm the one that's keeping everybody here, so I'm free too. I want to thank you guys for inviting me tonight. It's the first time I've come to this, and I've talked to a couple of the farmers tonight. I have a little farm in Warrenton, that's Warren County, which is where I live. And I said, well, I've got 100 acres, and well, this guy over here said, well, I've got 2,300 that I farm. So my little farm is small. Ours is 4 goats, 7 chickens, 2 cats, 2 bunnies, and 2 rats. I want to reiterate what a lot of you said. We have a great group of elected officials. I know most all the elected officials in here tonight because I work with them on a daily basis. We have an awesome sheriff's department and prosecutor's office. You guys have the best prosecutor and sheriff's department, and we all work together so well. Jacob didn't toot his horn on a couple of things. I was instrumental in our circuit going paperless as one of the first group of counties that did that. And and Jacob did it at the same time, or actually maybe a little before we finished up, to where when you come in the courthouse now, you don't see these stacks of files up anymore. Jacob brings a laptop in for a huge law day where we'll have 200-some cases on the docket. I have no files. It's all on the computers. It's really interesting, and Jacob is at the forefront of a lot of that and has really helped us with us going paperless. We also, Sheriff Audrain and his group, we have saved the county, Steve will tell you, lots and lots of money on this transportation costs and the safety to his officers by instituting the Polycom system, which is kind of a real-time video system that we use through the Department of Corrections, and the jail actually purchased a Polycom system, which is literally real-time, face-to-face with the defendants, but they don't have to bring them to court. And if you have ever been to one of our law days, we might have 50 people that they have to bring to court. They've got a van that can hold 11 people, and they're trying to transport those people, and we're sitting there like this waiting for prisoners to get there. And if you watched it now, it is, we were talking about it earlier, it is like a well-oiled machine. If you're a golfer, they've got one in front of me, one on deck, and one in the hole ready to go, and we can just run them through very efficiently, and they do a fantastic job. I love my job. I was the associate judge first down in Warren County, and then when Judge Sullivan, who you all maybe know, retired, I ran for his position, and he supported me to do that, and I can't believe it, but he supported me to do it again, you know, this year. And I'm excited because we have a lot of things that we're working on right now. And Sheriff Audrain's working with us, and so is Jacob on some pretrial matters of working with some people to maybe get them out on bond a little quicker, so or alleviate some of the problems with our jail. Some some alternative sentencing issues of home detention and ankle bracelets, and if you all saw that real-time monitoring, it's pretty cool. Matt and Jacob have both seen it. It's you can watch the guy walk out of his house and go to his mailbox. It's really state-of-the-art stuff that we're working on, and we're actually at another meeting tomorrow in Montgomery we're kind of meeting in the middle to get this worked out, but it's been a pleasure for me to do this. Our commissioners are fantastic to work with, and I know everybody keeps saying that, but if you guys saw how it really worked, it really truly is like that. It's amazing, and so are other elected officials. I get to wave and see them almost every other day too. It seems like I'm up here quite a bit. I don't get to see all you guys, but believe me, I'm up here and working. So used to the commissioners down in Warren County, they always say, well, you know, if you didn't have court that day, you must not be working. Well, we're working somewhere. And if you guys saw our dockets, like Jacob was saying, with the increased number of cases, we literally have court every day somewhere. I mean, it's either here, Montgomery, or Warren, and there aren't enough days in the month to try all the cases. Well, Jacob will set 8 or 9 cases on, and if one of them goes, the other 7 or 8 get bumped to the next date, and we just keep kind of rolling them over. So we're working hard to get those worked out, and they're doing a great job. So if you have questions, I'll be around afterwards, but I really appreciate the fact that you all voted me in last time, and I'm hoping I'll be here for another 6 or 7 years.
Thank you. I think you've seen in Audrain County, we have a great bunch of elected officials all the way from our county level all the way up to our federal level. We're blessed to have them come and speak with us and give us the information we need. Information is knowledge. So hopefully you've learned a little bit this evening, you know a little bit about the county, the state, and the federal scene. Thank you all for coming on behalf of Audrain County Farm Bureau. We appreciate all the elected officials that have come. We appreciate the media coming. And Brenda, congratulations on your retirement. There are a lot of people who are going to miss you.